So the word bimbo is used to describe someone as sexy and dumb. But I'm a bimbo and I'm definitely not dumb. So why are women either seen as dumb and sexy or smart and ugly?
Yeah, it's a good question. The answer is really just mental shortcuts. Mental shortcuts, extremism, or stereotypes. So why are stereotypes created in the first place?
To define people so people know what you're talking about, who you're talking about.
Yeah, not just people. You can have stereotypes about vegetables or something.
Yeah, yes. So it's a way to describe things and people.
Yeah, stereotypes are a quick mental shortcut to put something in a box and move on with the conversation or life or your thought process or whatever.
Yes.
Right. But what happens in life when you take shortcuts, cut corners?
That's not good.
It can work sometimes, but for the most part, if you're cutting corners and taking shortcuts, especially with other human beings, you're doing them a disservice.
Yes.
And so most stereotypes aren't super loving.
No.
Even if they're based in some reality or they came around for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
But even though we sort of know stereotypes aren't really super great, we still often use them to get by. So why are stereotypes still perpetuated? Well, what would you rather do? Get into the nuances of a situation in a conversation or throw a label and then move forward with your point?
Oh, well, yeah. Using the label is the fastest way to explain all the things at once. So, like I say bimbo, and the audience automatically has an image in their mind so that I can continue with the conversation. So,
exactly. So it's a shortcut, and shortcuts can be sometimes beneficial, but are usually just cutting corners and trampling people's gardens and stuff. Like, they're not ideal.
Right. Okay.
So remember before when I said if feminine leaning souls lean on their strengths and focus their day on beautification and decor and nesting and nurturing and so on, that they can make a lot of money and a lot of value can come from that. But I also said they'll get a lot of pushback and people would hate on them for it. And it might be awkward at first and society is not so receptive to that kind of thing initially. But what happens if someone invests all their time in that and doesn't invest their time in psychology and philosophy and logic and math and reason and rationality and articulation and debate and these sort of well-spoken topics, because they're off investing their time in their other strengths and passions? What happens when they ignore all that stuff? What happens to their verbal skills? What happens to their communication?
Oh, they stop, like they go backwards.
Yeah, what happens to their vocabulary?
It also doesn't improve,
So how do they end up sounding?
Dumb.
Yeah, someone who focuses on all that stuff will end up sounding dumb. Doesn't mean they are dumb.
Right.
But it means they'll get demolished in most discussions and might not be able to keep up or get their point across. They might want to say that, oh, puppies and kittens are nature's creatures and we all respond to them positively because of their facial features and ratio, and nature has designed it that way because babies can't protect themselves. And so it needs to inspire this emotion in us. And so that's why babies are so cute. And it's a natural, rational, reasonable thing. But when they communicate, it just comes out with, everyone loves babies and kittens, obvi. But they're making a good point.
Yes.
But it sounds dumb and they get dismissed and written off as a stereotype simply because they spent time focusing on their thing. And they like to express in a more sense-oriented way. And they don't really have time or focus for reason and rationale and logic and articulate discussion and debate.
Fair.
But I don't see them as stupid or dumb.
No.
And I don't hate on them for their choice of what to focus on. And I'm not mad or holding them to my standard of communication and articulation. It's on me to actually listen to their point and try to see what they're getting at, to see the good intentions behind their communication and use my reason and my logic to suss it out.
And you're so good at that.
Thank you.
Like the first conversation we had, where I spent the whole time just crying and I could barely get out a sentence.
I know what you were saying.
Yeah, you did. And there's times, I think yesterday, the day before, I stumbled over I don't remember what I was trying to say to you. And I was like, and you like said whatever it was that I was trying to say. And I said, thank you. Yes, because you knew, even though I was completely inarticulate in those moments.
Yeah, because if I have the vocabulary and the articulation, there's no point using it to make you feel bad or beat you over the head with it or like show you as weak because you spent your day focusing on beauty and stuff. Instead, I can just use my skills to help you get your point across.
Yeah.
The point is, most people are not interested in nuance or subtlety or the details of a situation. They have an agenda and they're looking to get their point across, and they're going to take whatever shortcuts gets that done. Even if it means using labels, which are the guns of language, in a poor way or harming others with them, especially if they have self-esteem issues. If they have low self-esteem, what's a great way to feel better about themselves?
To see mean things and put other people down.
Yeah, and slap a label on them and pigeonhole them into a stereotype and automatically see themselves as superior. And now they got a little dopamine hit of self-esteem for the day at the cost of others and the expense of others. So if someone wants to dehumanize beautiful people or paint them as dumb because they communicate differently, they're welcome to do so. But it's not a classy move in my book.
Great.